After discovering that his father is his favorite superhero, a teenager and his friends must stop a group of criminals from stealing the source of his powers. Today we're going to recap the story of the movie, Secret Squad, from 2022. Jack is camping with his family in the middle of the forest when, suddenly, a flying object crosses the sky and explodes a few kilometers away from the camp. Immediately, the man asks Lily to take care of Charlie and call the emergency while he goes to try to help the survivors. Jack then gets into his van and drives quickly towards the accident. However, on the way, he comes across a wounded soldier and stops to help him. Sean is the captain of the Air Force and tells them that his ship has collided with an unidentified flying object. So the pair trek through the forest in search of this object and come across some incredibly advanced technology. A floating sphere comes out of the ship and flies towards the soldier. However, after analyzing him, it comes to the conclusion that he is not the ideal guardian. So the sphere goes to the nearest human and Jack is chosen as its guardian. At that moment, the spaceship automatically begins to self-destruct and Sean is hit by the impact of the explosion. While still on the ground, the soldier realizes that a shield has appeared around Jack and he collapses immediately afterwards. 10 years later, the Guardian's true identity is still a secret and Charlie has dedicated his life to unraveling the mystery. The boy is the superhero's biggest fan and uses every possible opportunity to talk about him, including in a presentation to his classmates. That day, while Charlie is discussing his recent discoveries about the Guardian, Maya, the new student who transferred from Turkey, shows up. The girl was Lizzie's best friend during elementary school, but the two split up when Maya left the country with her parents. Berger is in love with Lizzie and Charlie, his best friend, tries to convince him to ask the girl to the prom. Both are members of the school baseball team and are about to take the field for another game. The big problem is that they will be facing Forrest, the greatest hitter in his class, and Charlie ends up hurting himself after throwing the ball. When he gets home, he sees that his mother is preparing cupcakes for him to take to his father's house, as his birthday is the following day. However, Charlie isn't too excited about the trip, as he believes his father will cancel his visit at any moment. A few hours later, Lily arrives at Jack's house, which is in a secluded spot in the middle of the forest, and Charlie doesn't show much enthusiasm when he sees his father. However, the situation changes when the boy gets his birthday present and they both spend the whole evening playing baseball on the Nintendo Switch. Suddenly, Jack receives a phone call informing him that he has to leave for an emergency at work. Upon hearing this, Charlie is saddened, as he is tired of being traded for his father's job. However, the man says he'll be back in 2 days and promises that, when he arrives, he'll explain everything to the boy. Frustrated, Charlie says he'll call his mother to pick him up, but it's all a lie, as he was talking to Berger on the phone. When his father leaves, the young man invites his friend to meet him, but he didn't expect Berger to take Lizzie and Maya with him. When he sees the girl, Charlie despairs, claiming that Maya hates him and has even left the country because of him. However, Berger says that this is just paranoia and suggests that Charlie ask the girl to the dance. Then the young man approaches cautiously and asks Maya for forgiveness for what happened in 5th grade. At that moment, he accidentally opens a secret passage in the wall and a keyboard protrudes right in front of him. To open the door, a password has to be entered and, after Lizzie enters Charlie's birthday, the passage is unlocked. The group then enters the elevator and Maya presses the only button, which takes them at high speed to the basement. It doesn't take long for the quartet to realize that this is the Guardian's headquarters and Charlie comes to the conclusion that his father works for him. Meanwhile, Argon, an entrepreneur who devotes his life to creating new technologies, hires a team to track down the Guardian because he wants to steal its energy source. Sean, a former Air Force captain, is one of the members of this team and has been trying for years to recover the orb he found on the night of his accident. However, despite the various pieces of equipment provided by Argon, the group has still not managed to locate him. While exploring the secret HQ, the children discover the existence of a super 3D printer and realize that they can use it to build anything. The group finds some equipment that was made by the printer and Berger soon learns how to use the magnetic wand. Charlie chooses the watch as his weapon and Lizzie accidentally discovers that she is wearing a jetpack. The girl accidentally flies out off the ground, but her friends manage to help her back to the ground. Just then, Charlie points at Maya and his watch fires a bolt of lightning at the girl. Everyone thinks that the young woman is injured, but luckily she was protected by her jacket, which absorbed all the impact. Suddenly, Berger's body comes into view and everyone despairs when they realize that his head has disappeared. However, the boy informs them that he has found a portal and explains how the trick works. Maya then finds a car key and, when she presses the button, a van is activated and heads towards the children. Just as she was about to run them over, the vehicle stops and claims to be ready for the mission. When he enters it, Charlie finds several photos from when his parents were still married and, at that moment, it dawns on him that his father really is the guardian. Now that he is alone with Lizzie, Berger plucks up the courage to ask her to the ball, but the young woman says she already has a date. The next day, they have to take an exam and Maya has an idea to make sure everyone passes. As Lizzie is the one who is mastering the subject the most, she finishes the exam early and, when she leaves the room, she uses the portal to answer her friend's exams. After class, Berger keeps one of the rings in his locker and almost gets caught by his teacher, but manages to distract her. After several years of trying to find the Guardian, Sean and his team manage to detect the signal from the energy source and prepare to go after it. During a baseball game, Charlie asks his coach to put him in the game and the youngster uses the power of his watch to throw the ball with such impressive speed that even Forrest can't catch it. On the third pitch, Charlie uses so much force that when Berger goes to catch the ball, his glove is punctured and the ball goes through the school. After winning the game, the group gets back into the van and drives home at high speed. On the way, they are caught by traffic wardens and Maya activates a smokescreen to throw them off. He then uses an electromagnetic pulse to open up space on the runway and throw off the police. Despite having managed to escape the police, the youngsters become Sean's target, who prepares his team to go after them. When they return to HQ, the quartet practice using their new equipment, but Lizzie decides to take a break and goes upstairs to make a phone call. At that moment, Charlie takes the opportunity to get closer to Maya and, while the couple are talking, Sean's team arrives at the safe house. After breaking into the house, the captain notices a strong energy signal coming from underground and Hawaii finds the secret elevator. While talking to Charlie about past events, Maya remembers the day they almost kissed when they were in 5th grade. The couple were at one of their colleagues' birthdays and Charlie was afraid to kiss the girl. To make matters worse, he made up a lie to justify himself and told everyone that Maya had bad breath. The boy asks for forgiveness for what he did and believes that this was the reason Maya left the country. However, the young woman reveals that she moved because her mother was offered a job in Turkey. Suddenly, the pair hears the sound of the elevator and soon realizes that there are intruders in the safe house. After finding Berger, they plan how to save Lizzie and head to the garage in an attempt to get up to the house. However, the passage is blocked and the trio are trapped in the hideout. Meanwhile, Lizzie is on a call with her prom date and gives him the address so he can meet her. Unaware that there are intruders on the premises, the young woman ends up being found by Jersey and the man begins to pursue her. Meanwhile, Charlie finds the energy sphere and, after picking it up, some predictions appear in his mind. Just then, Argon shows up and discovers that there is a little girl hiding in the house. To prevent the police from being called, the man orders Jersey to get rid of her, but Hawaii claims to have placed signal jammers throughout the house. He then remembers that eliminating children is not part of that mission and becomes the first victim of the night. Frightened by what she saw, Lizzie ends up revealing her hiding place and is about to be shot when the doorbell rings. The young woman says that it's her boyfriend who has just arrived and asks Argon not to hurt him, because she will tell him to leave. However, instead, Lizzie asks Eugene to get help and the boy ends up being dragged into the house. Soon after, the two youngsters are taken underground and Argon begins a search for the trio, who are still in hiding. The man forces Lizzie to send a message to her friends over the loudspeaker in the safe house and Berger discovers that his brother is also being held hostage. At that moment, he tries to take the energy sphere to deliver it, since Eugene's life is in danger, but Charlie claims to have a better plan to save them. While the rest of the team is out looking for the children, Jersey and Argon are planning to blow up the place. The businessman is installing several bombs around the hideout when Berger appears and accidentally uses his magnetic wand to knock him out. The young man then ties Argon to a chair and takes the man to his friends, who torture him to get information. When he realizes that those children are not as harmless as they seem, the man decides to tell the truth and reveals that the object in Charlie's hands is an alien energy sphere. Argon claims that the Guardian has only unlocked a fraction of the power of that sphere and says that he wants to use it to solve all of humanity's problems. Realizing that the children are sympathizing with his speech, Argon tries to turn the tables and claims that Jack is the villain for wanting to keep the power of that technology to himself instead of sharing it. It's been more than 24 hours since Lily left her son at Jack's house and she decides to call her ex-husband to find out how their relationship is going. Then she asks to speak to Charlie and, just then, Jack realizes that he has been tricked by his son. When he checks the security cameras in his house, he discovers that the boy is still there, along with his friends and a group of criminals. Seeing that his son is in danger, the man immediately changes course and flies home. Meanwhile, Charlie announces that he is holding Argon prisoner and sets up a meeting point to make an exchange with the mercenaries. After freeing Lizzie and Eugene, Burger asks what his brother is doing there and is furious to discover that he is Lizzie's date for the dance. At this point, Charlie hands the orb to Argon and asks the businessman to leave them alone. But instead, the man orders his team to arrest the youngsters, and Sean is totally against this idea. When he realizes that he has been betrayed, Charlie decides to initiate the escape plan, and Maya turns off all the power to the HQ. Suddenly, the sphere begins to fall apart in Argon's hands, and the man realizes that it is a fake. So he orders the mercenaries to capture the children. Then Jersey throws a bomb to block the way to the elevator and manages to catch the sphere, which rolls straight into his hands. Determined to recover the technology, the team uses the weapons they have built to attack the intruders, and Lizzie manages to get hold of the power source. He then throws the sphere at Charlie, who uses it to energize the billiard balls and strike a blow at Wisconsin. However, it's not long before he's captured and Maya shows up to save her friend. Meanwhile, Burger confronts Jersey and uses the portal to deflect his blows. As the other ring is at school, inside his locker, the youngster manages to deflect his opponent's punch. Just then, Eugene appears and uses Jersey's own belt to whip him. Burger then takes the opportunity to send the man's head into the locker, and his brother attacks him again. When the criminal collapses, the pair run for the elevator, but end up being captured along with their friends. Now that he's face to face with Sean, Charlie finds out what really happened the day his father found that orb, and the captain tells him that Jack decided to steal all that power for himself, even though he knew it could be used to save humanity. However, when Sean takes the orb, he receives a vision with countless probabilities of what will happen in the future, and discovers that if that technology falls into the wrong hands, the entire planet will be in danger. Just as he's about to get home, Jack notices that his suit is running out of power and soon suspects that the fountain has been stolen. Now that Sean knows the dangers that accompany that sphere, he refuses to hand it over to Argon, but is forced to do so when his own team points several guns at his head. So Burger and Charlie team up to steal the artifact and throw it into the portal. Eugene then destroys the passage, causing the connection between the two portals to be lost. At that moment, Jack appears and claims to be just an employee of the Guardian, who went there after being informed of a security breach. The man tries to distract his enemies from approaching the children and then activates his suit to protect them. After getting rid of one of the mercenaries, the Guardian produces a shield to protect the young people and orders them to run to the elevator, as his suit's energy level is too low. However, on the way, they are attacked by Argon, who has used Jack's spare fanny pack to transform himself and shoots the real Guardian. Under threat, Burger is forced to reveal the location of the energy source and is taken hostage to his school to open the cupboard where the sphere is hidden. As they return to the surface, Burger steals one of the bombs from Jersey's armory, and Argon traps his ally inside the elevator. He then blows it up, as he intends to take out all the witnesses. The safe house is full of bombs and Argon has blocked all the passages. Now, Lizzie has to crack the password in order to open a passage, while Maya and Charlie use the printer to make jetpacks. With only a few seconds left before the explosion, the team manages to leave the HQ and Jack takes the children to school in his van. His next mission is to get the power source before Argon manages to steal it. Just then, the prom is taking place and the villain is furious to discover that the alien sphere has disappeared from Burger's locker. Then Mrs. Squint appears and informs them that the janitor found the shiny object in the closet and decided to give it to the teacher. When he hears this, Argon asks if the woman can fetch the orb. What he didn't realize, however, was that Mrs. Squint was suspicious of him from the moment she saw him and handed the object to Burger. During the boys' escape, she blows a whistle for help, and Jack, who has just arrived at school, and chases after them while the children wait in the vehicle. In an attempt to throw off his enemy, Burger runs into the hall where the party is taking place and hides under one of the tables. Furious, Argon goes after him and manages to find him, so the boy throws a bomb at his opponent, but it hits the armor and rolls away. Just as Burger was about to be crushed, Jack shows up and takes a beating, since he's not wearing his super suit. Realizing that his father is in trouble, Charlie decides to take action and gets behind the wheel to break into the school with the van. Burger takes advantage of the distraction to throw the energy source at Jack, and he manages to recover his Guardian suit. Now the superhero can fight his archenemy on equal terms and take him down with a single blow. The man asks his son to protect the sphere while he goes after Argon, who decides to flee when he realizes he can't win a battle against the true Guardian. However, Jack manages to catch up with him and the villain ends up having to fight him to try and defend himself. Shortly after the start of the duel, Argon loses his breath and asks for time to recover before returning to the battle. Patiently, Jack waits for him, because he wants to have a fair fight against his opponent, who needs to drink water before putting on his mask and attacking the Guardian again. However, as soon as he returns to the fight, the man is knocked down with precise blows and can barely get up. Then Jack continues his attacks and, just as he is about to fire the final shot, Argon manages to knock him down and runs into the hall. As soon as Charlie throws the sphere back at his father, the villain appears behind him and manages to capture him. He uses the boy as a hostage to force Jack to hand over the orb. However, while the two of them are fighting over the object, the boy manages to break free and throws a bomb into the fountain. After the explosion, Argon disappears and Charlie collapses on impact. Jack is distraught to see his son unconscious, but it doesn't take long before the boy wakes up and asks if Maya saw his throw. At that moment, his father smiles with relief and praises Charlie for having been a great hero. During this touching moment, the children approach the pair and they all hug each other to celebrate their victory. Jack then calls Lily, who immediately goes to the school to find Charlie. When she sees her son, the woman runs to hug him and the boy discovers that his mother has known his father's secret all these years. Before leaving, Charlie asks Maya to dance and Burger turns on the music. At this point, the party DJ compliments the boy's taste in music and informs him that she hid when everyone ran away so she wouldn't have to leave her post. In the mood for the party, Jack and Lily also start dancing and Charlie finally manages to kiss Maya. From that day on, father and son worked together in the fight against crime and managed to strengthen their relationship. Contrary to all his expectations, Captain Sean went to work in the Guardian's Mission Control Center. Eugene and Lizzie have started dating, but they haven't had their first kiss yet, because the girl wants to wait until they both go to college. There are rumors that Maya became an intern at the CIA, but this information cannot be confirmed. At last, Jack and Lily were able to have their happy ending and resume their marriage. On the other hand, the same cannot be said for Argon, who, despite being alive, remains trapped in another dimension. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.